Welcome, my friends. In this video, we're going to learn something very important: how to talk about yourself in English. Step by step, we'll go through 6 simple parts together: your name and where you're from, your family, your hobbies, your daily routine, your feelings and future plans, and finally, how to put everything into one full self-introduction. By the end of this video, you will be able to introduce yourself with confidence in clear and simple English. So let's start this journey together and make your English speaking stronger and more natural. Part 1: Introduction and Crystal Story. Hello, my friends. My name is Crystal, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Welcome to this video, Learn How to Talk About Yourself in English, Easy Introductions for Beginners. Before we start, I want to tell you a little story. When I started learning English, I could understand some words, maybe even some sentences. But when people asked me a very simple question, like, "Can you tell me about yourself?" I froze. I didn't know what to say. I felt nervous, shy, and afraid of making mistakes. Does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you understand English when you listen, but when it's your turn to speak, you feel stuck. Don't worry, you are not alone. I was exactly the same, and step by step, I learned how to talk about myself in a simple way. That is why today I want to share my experience with you so you can feel more confident too. So, why is it important to know how to talk about yourself in English? Well, introductions are everywhere. When you meet a new friend, you introduce yourself. When you start a new job or school, you introduce yourself. Even when you go to an English class or join an online meeting, people ask, "Can you tell me about yourself?" It's the most common question in the world. The good news is, you don't need many words to do it. You can start with very simple sentences. And in this video, I will help you build your own introduction step by step. At the end, you will be able to say, "This is me," in English, clearly and confidently. Now let me share a little more about my journey. When I first learned English, I was afraid to open my mouth. I thought, what if my grammar is wrong? What if people laugh at me? So I stayed quiet. I listened, I read, but I didn't speak. And because of that, my progress was very slow. One day, my teacher gave me a challenge. She said, "Crystal, every day, I want you to say 3 simple sentences about yourself. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Just speak." At first, it was very difficult, but slowly it became easier. I practiced in front of the mirror, I recorded my voice, and I repeated the same sentences again and again. And something amazing happened. I started to feel more confident. The first time I introduced myself in English to a group, my hands were shaking. But after I finished, people smiled and said, "Good job, Crystal." That moment gave me so much courage. So in this video, I want to give you the same courage. I want you to know that you can do it too. Don't worry about mistakes. Mistakes are not bad. Mistakes are your teachers. Every time you make one, you learn and grow. Here's how today will go. In the next part, we will learn the basics: your name and where you're from, your family, your hobbies, and free time. After that, I'll show you how to describe your personality and your goals. And at the end, we will put everything together and you will make your own introduction in English. So please stay with me until the end. By the time we finish, You will be ready to talk about yourself with confidence. Are you ready? Let's start this journey together. Part 2. The basics. Name, country, job, or study. Welcome back, my friends. In Part 1, I shared my story with you and explained why learning to introduce yourself is so important. Now, let's begin building your introduction step by step. The first step is very simple. Say your name. This is always the first thing people want to know. You don't need to say much, just, "My name is Crystal," or "I'm Crystal." Both are correct, both are easy, and both sound natural. When I first practiced, I only said this one line many times until I felt comfortable. You can do the same. The second step is to say where you are from, your country, or your city. This is another common question. You can say, "I'm from Mexico," "I come from Brazil," or "I live in Spain." See, very simple. When I started, I was nervous even to say, "I'm from Italy," but the more I repeated it, the easier it became. Now let's add the third step, your job or your studies. People often ask, "What do you do?" Or, "Are you a student or do you work?" Here are some easy answers. I'm a student. I study English and business. I'm a teacher. I work in a hospital. You don't need to make long sentences. Just one or two simple sentences are enough. For example, I'm Crystal. I'm from Italy. I'm an English teacher. That's already a good introduction. When I first learned this, I made many mistakes. For example, I said, "I work like a teacher." That was wrong. But instead of being sad, I listened, I corrected myself, and I tried again. I work as a teacher. Step by step, I improved. Here is my tip for you. Write your 3 basic sentences on paper: your name, your country, and your job or studies. Then practice speaking them out loud 5 times every day. Even if you are alone, even if you feel silly, just practice. I promise. After a few days, you will feel more confident. I also want to remind you, don't compare yourself to other people. When I was learning, I had friends who spoke faster than me, and I felt small. But later, I realized that everyone has their own speed. The most important thing is to keep moving forward. So now, let's put the basics together. Listen to me. Hello, my name is Crystal. I'm from Italy. I'm an English teacher. Very simple, right? And you can do it too. In the next part, we will make your introduction more interesting by adding information about your family, hobbies, and free time. This way, people will know more about you and conversations will feel easier and friendlier. Are you ready? Let's continue. Part 3. Talking about your family. Welcome back, my friends. In Part 2, we learned how to say your name, your country, and your job or studies. That was the foundation, the first step. Now, in Part 3, we are going to make your introduction more interesting. We will add information about your family, your hobbies, and your free time. Why is this important? Because when you share a little more about yourself, people can connect with you. It feels more natural and friendly. And the good news is, you don't need difficult English to do this. Let's start with family. You don't need to tell your whole life story, just a short, simple line. Here are some examples. I have one brother and one sister. I'm married and I have 2 children. I live with my parents. When I first practiced, I always said, I have 2 brothers. Even if people didn't ask, I used it to keep the conversation going, and slowly it became natural. Next is hobbies. This is one of my favorite parts because hobbies show your personality. You can say, I like reading books. I enjoy cooking. I love playing football. In my free time, I listen to music. Notice that we use different verbs, like, enjoy, love. You can choose one. You don't need to use all of them. When I started learning, I always said, I like music. It was simple, but it helped me to start small conversations with new friends. Now, let's combine these ideas. Listen carefully. Hello, my name is Crystal. I'm from Italy. I'm an English teacher. I have 2 brothers. In my free time, I enjoy reading and listening to music. Did you hear how natural that sounds? It's short, but it gives people a clear picture of who you are. I want to share something personal with you. When I first came to another country, I felt very shy. At a party, someone asked me, "What do you like to do?" I didn't understand the question and I froze. Later, I learned the phrase, I like to, and practiced my hobbies. The next time, I was ready. I smiled and said, I like reading stories. That small answer gave me confidence. Here's my tip for you. Choose 2 or 3 hobbies and practice saying them every day. Stand in front of the mirror and say, I like cooking. I enjoy walking. I love movies. Do it again and again. Soon, it will come out naturally. And don't forget, mistakes are okay. Sometimes I said, I like read books. That was wrong, but the person still understood me. Later, I corrected myself. I like reading books. Remember, communication is more important than perfection. So now you know how to talk about your family and hobbies. This makes your introduction longer, more colorful, and more interesting. In the next part, part 4, we will talk about how to describe your daily routine. This is very useful because people often ask, what do you usually do? Or how is your day? And when you can answer, the conversation continues smoothly. Are you ready? Let's move forward together. Part 4. Hobbies and Free Time. Welcome back, my friends. You are doing amazing. In Part 3, we practiced how to introduce your family and hobbies. Now, in Part 4, we are going to talk about something very practical, your daily routine. Why is this important? Because when you meet new people, they often ask, What do you usually do? Or how is your day? If you can answer with simple sentences about your daily routine, you sound natural and confident. Let's start with the morning. You can say, I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I brush my teeth and take a shower. I eat breakfast and then go to work. Notice the word usually. It makes your sentence sound more natural. In the afternoon, you can say, I eat lunch at 1 o'clock. I study English after lunch. I go shopping with my friends. And in the evening, you can say, I eat dinner with my family. I watch TV or read a book. I go to bed at 11 o'clock. Here's an example of a short routine. I usually wake up at 7. I eat breakfast, then I go to work. In the evening, I cook dinner and watch TV. I go to bed at 11. See? Very simple, but now people know more about you. When I was learning, I practiced saying my routine every morning in English. For example, I would say, now I wake up. Now I drink coffee. Now I check my phone. It was funny, but it helped me remember the verbs and practice speaking out loud. I remember once a friend asked me, what do you usually do on weekends? At that time, I didn't know how to answer. I only said, I stay home. It felt too short. Later, I learned to add more details, like, I usually stay home, cook, and watch movies. Suddenly, the conversation became longer and more friendly. Here's my advice. Write down your own routine in English. Start with 3 to 4 sentences. For example, I wake up at 8. I go to work. I eat dinner with my family. Then, every day, add one new sentence. After 1 week, you will have a complete story about your day. Remember, you don't need perfect grammar. What's important is to speak, to practice, and to share. People will understand you even if your English is simple. So now you can introduce yourself, talk about your family, hobbies, and daily routine. That's already a big step. In part 5, we will learn how to talk about your feelings and future plans. This will make your introduction even more exciting and personal. Let's continue together. You are doing great. Part 5. Describing your personality and goals. Hello again, my friends. You are really making progress. In Part 4, we talked about your daily routine, what you usually do every day. Now, in Part 5, we are going to learn how to talk about your feelings and your future plans. Why is this important? Because when you introduce yourself, people don't just want to know what you do, they also want to know how you feel and what you want to do in the future. This makes your introduction personal, interesting, and very human. Let's start with feelings. Here are some simple ways you can describe yourself. I am happy today. I feel excited about learning English. Sometimes I feel tired after work. I am relaxed when I read books. Notice how easy it is? You just need I am or I feel plus an adjective. You don't need long sentences. Even short ones can show your emotions. Now, let's move to future plans. You can use I want to or I'm going to. Examples. I want to travel to London next year. I'm going to practice English every day. I want to make new friends from different countries. I'm going to start a new job soon. When I was learning English, I always practiced with my dream. I used to say, I want to speak English fluently. I'm going to practice every day. I will not give up. Saying this out loud gave me motivation and confidence. Here's a short introduction that combines everything we learned. Hello, my name is Crystal. I'm from the United States. I live in a small city. I like reading and listening to music. I usually wake up at 7 and go to work. I am happy today because I'm learning English. In the future, I want to travel to Europe and make new friends from different countries. Can you see how complete this is? In less than 1 minute, you can share your name, your city, your hobbies, your routine, your feelings, and your plans. That's a strong self-introduction. Here's my tip. Practice saying your introduction with a mirror. Smile, look at your eyes, and say, I am happy today. I want to learn more English. When you smile, your voice becomes warmer and more confident. When I remember the first time I told someone in English about my dream, I said, I want to visit England one day. My English was not perfect, but the person smiled and said, That's wonderful. At that moment, I felt proud because I shared my heart in English. So, my dear learners, don't be afraid to talk about your feelings and your future. Even with simple words, you can share something very powerful. In part 6, we will put everything together: name, family, hobbies, routine, feelings, and future plans, and practice creating your own self-introduction. It'll be your own story, and you'll be ready to share it with anyone. Keep going. You are doing amazing. Let's continue to part 6. Part 6. Final practice and motivation. Hello again, my friends. Welcome to part 6. You've done such a great job learning step by step. We started with your name and where you're from. Then we talked about family, hobbies, daily routines, feelings, and future plans. Now, in this final part, it's time to put everything together and create your own full self-introduction. Let's start slowly. Here is a simple example using everything we learned. Hello, my name is Crystal. I'm from Italy, and I live in a small city near the sea. I have one brother and one sister. My brother is a teacher, and my sister is still a student. We are a close family, and I love spending time with them. In my free time, I like reading books, listening to music, and going for walks in nature. These hobbies help me relax and feel happy. I also enjoy cooking sometimes, especially on the weekends. Cooking reminds me of my family traditions. On a normal day, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I eat breakfast, usually something simple like toast and coffee, and then I go to work. My job is sometimes busy, but I always try to stay positive. After work, I like to study English, watch short videos, or read a book. Before bed, I usually listen to soft music or write in my journal. Right now, I feel very excited because I am learning English with you. I am happy and motivated. In the future, I want to travel to Europe, especially England, and make new friends from different countries. My dream is to speak English fluently and confidently. See? That is one long but clear self-introduction. It tells people your story in a natural way. Now, I want you to try. Take a notebook and write your own introduction. Use this structure. 1. Name and origin. Who you are and where you live. 2. Family. Say something simple about your family. 3. Hobbies. What you like to do in your free time. 4. Daily routine. What your normal day looks like. 5. Feelings. How you feel right now. 6. Future plans. What you want to do in the future. If you put all these together, you'll have your personal introduction. Even if you only speak for 1 minute, it's enough to make a connection with someone new. When I practiced my introduction for the first time, I repeated it many times in front of the mirror. I even recorded myself on my phone. At first, I made mistakes, but slowly I improved. After some time, I felt so much more confident when I met new people. Here's my final tip. Don't worry about being perfect. Your goal is to communicate and connect. People will not judge you for small mistakes. They will listen to your story and they will appreciate your effort. So, take a deep breath, smile, and say, "Hello, my name is," and tell your story. This is your moment. You can do it. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it will be. And step by step, you will feel comfortable speaking English about yourself. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait for you to try your introduction in real life. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and never stop learning. See you soon, and good luck on your English journey.